Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, you guys with me. I bring my presentation with the title The Effect of Pre-Teaching Vocabulary Strategy on Students' Basic Vocabulary Mastery at SMP Negeri 1 Padang. With the with presented by myself, Ananda Erza Chaniago, with name with since student identification number 23018165. Before that, I wanna ask you, have you ever seen a senior high school or junior high school students that is lack of vocabulary, or when they at lesson or hearing the teacher uh, teaching the lessons, they doesn't understand anything. It because they uh, doesn't know about the vocabulary that used in the material when the lesson begins. Have you ever seen it? Okay, come to my outline with introduction, literature review, and research method. Begin with my background of study. Vocabulary is an essential component of language learning, of course, because the vocabulary is the important part when we want to learning a language. It's the foundation. And many students have limited vocabulary mastery, of course, because a student doesn't always remember many things or many vocabulary and doesn't know about what is its meaning. Like this, students often memorize words without understanding their use. So they are always memorizing it, but they doesn't understand the words or the vocabulary. Students easily forget new vocabulary. When they get a new vocabulary and they doesn't use it often, they will forget it fast. And effective teaching strategies are needed to improve vocabulary mastery. Because of this, we need a strategy that effective to improve the vocabulary mastery first. This is my research problem. First, we have the problem with the limited mastery of daily activities vocabulary. As we know that in daily activities, we have so many vocabulary and how often to use the vocabulary. And then difficulty understanding and using vocabulary. And then low vocabulary retention, monotonous teaching strategies, and low participation and confidence in English learning. So yeah, we have difficulty to understand and using the vocabulary because there's so many vocabulary, and students always have been difficult to understand it. And with teaching strategies right now, it's so boring and monotonous. And then the participant or the students is always lack of the confidence. They are always scared in learning English. And then I have research question. I have three. First, how is students' vocabulary mastery before the treatment? How is the student vocabulary mastery after the treatment? And is there any significant effect of picture-based teaching vocabulary strategies? I have a objective. First is to identify students' vocabulary mastery before the treatment, and then to identify students' vocabulary mastery after treatment, and to investigate the effect of the strategy, of course. Vocabulary mastery refers to the ability to understand the word, remember the words, and use the words appropriately. This is important. Support communication, improve language skills, help students understand learning material. And then pre-teaching vocabulary strategy. It's a strategy that introduces important vocabulary before the main lesson begins. Like this one, the activities is like first showing the pictures, giving simple explanation, pronunciation practice, and providing example sentence. So, protective vocabulary strategy is that the strategy that introduce the important vocabulary before the main lesson begins. Yeah, we use the apa? We teach the vocabulary, the important vocabulary first. That related, we gonna use the vocabulary later on the lessons. And then we show it to the student, or we teach the student for the vocabulary with showing a pictures. That's why here you see it that I have a conceptual framework here. So first, limited vocabulary mastery. Yeah, we know that many students have a limited vocabulary mastery, sorry. And then they're having difficulty to understand vocabulary. That's why I'm here want to show you that we have a strategy, picture-based pre-teaching vocabulary strategy that is introduce the vocabulary, the main part, the important part of the vocabulary first with the picture-based strategy that show the pictures and then teach them the vocabulary with the pronunciation too and with the example too before we begin the lessons and better understanding and retention. So with this all, I hope that it can improve the vocabulary mastery. With the hypothesis, picture-based pre-teaching vocabulary strategy has a significant effect on students' vocabulary mastery. I'm using the type quantitative research, and the design is pre-experimental designs. With one group pre-test and post-test, I check the population all 8th grade students of SMP Negeri 1 Padang. The sample is one class, approximately 30 students, purposive sampling technique. With the variable, independent variable is the picture-based pre-teaching vocabulary strategy, and for the dependent variable, students' vocabulary mastery. I'm using the instrument, the vocabulary test, the pre-test and the post-test. And then the data collection, I collect it from the pre-test, of course, and the treatment that are gonna going with 4 meetings, and the last from the post-test. With descriptive statistics using mean score and inferential statistics per simple t-test, it's for compare pre-test and post-test scores and determine the effectiveness of the strategy, of course. I have an expected outcome for this strategy. First one, students improve their daily activity, vocabulary mastery. So I hope that students can improve their specifically in daily activities for the vocabulary mastery. Second one, students become more active and confident. Of course, it's important. And when a student that know many vocabulary, it will they will more become more active in speaking and more confident to speak because they know and understand and remember the vocabulary that they want to use. And then the third one, the strategy positively affect vocabulary learning. Of course, how that the strategy having a positive uh, effect for vocabulary learning. And the last one, finding can provide useful reference for English teacher. So I hope that English teacher Indonesian in Indonesian using all using these strategies, picture based pre-teaching strategies, and for the Indonesian learners because this is a good and effective and the best strategies for me to teach before the lesson begins and to improve the vocabulary mastery, of course. Yeah, that's all. So I hope my analysis, all my analysis, and with the strategy, my strategy, uh, it can be used by many English teacher in Indonesia. And the students can improve their vocabulary, especially from their junior high school, because it can help them when they get go up to the senior high schools. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.